Hey everybody, it's Mike from Hear the Watchmen, and I am here today with I'm telling you, I am blown away. I am here today with one of the young stars of the Christian movement, Mr. Josh Peck. He and his wife have 48 kids. They're an amazing couple. Just all about Jesus. And Josh is like a deep, deep researcher. Josh, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me back on. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And I'll try to make this worth it for you. You gave me quite an introduction there. Hopefully I can live up to it.
Well, you're going to be in California with us in October. Folks, go to hearthewatchmen.com. Josh will be there. Stephen Bankars will be there. Gon Shimura will be there. I mean, we're trying to bring the young guys up. And Tom Horn and I met recently, about a month ago. And we talked all about how we're old and we need to bring the young guys up. And here's Josh Peck. He's out there. He's doing it. You're doing a great job. Josh, today we want to talk about a little bit about aliens and censorship. How do we work those two things together?
Well, it's so strange. We live in a time now. Nobody would have predicted this. Well, technically I did in my book, The Day the Earth Stands Still, written with Derek Gilbert, but we'll get to that in a minute. But nobody would have predicted that we are living in an age now where the government is coming clean about all of these secret alien programs and everything, just freely giving that information out to everybody. Yet also we're seeing some of the worst censorship on social media from social media platforms against Christians, conservatives, anybody who likes the truth or who enjoys logic and reason. We're getting hit so hard with all that censorship. The scripts have flipped. It used to be that social media was a safe haven for anybody who wanted to talk about anything, and then the government was the one that would that would be all secretive and wouldn't tell us anything about what they're actually up to. So it's so strange to see how it's flipped like that. I think part of the reason, Trump in the White House now, that might have something to do with why there's more disclosure with the UFO stuff than ever has been before. But it is strange that the Pentagon has come clean about secret programs, secret UFO programs. This happened in 2017. The end of 2017 was when it first started. We're seeing a new resurgence of it today. Yet today we have the heaviest censorship we have ever seen in our modern era online, hurled towards Christians and conservatives. It's gotten to the point I had to create a whole new platform just so I would be able to talk with people online about UFOs and Jesus and just Christianity and the Bible. We had to create a whole new platform called Daily Renegade, just so we would be free from the censorship.
I can't agree with you more, Josh. I mean, the frightening thing is that all of us, and I've had the same problem. If I put one of my shows up with the title that says "We love Jesus," I will get instantly demonetized. Now, okay, look, folks. I mean, I know you all think we make billions of dollars on our YouTube channels. Trust me, I barely make enough on my YouTube channel to pay for my internet, and it's okay. I'm cool with that. But, Josh, I got to ask you, as a young father, as a young man who's, I'm on the opposite side of you, okay? I'm winding down. You're revving up. You got these kids. You've got a family. What is the really heinous thing about this censorship that you fear for your children?
Well, they didn't warn us. That's the thing. And by the way, when they demonetize, it's not just about not being able to put ads on. It's not just about being demonetized. If they demonetize a video, they also shadow ban it, meaning they won't put it in recommended videos, which that's where 80% of people's views come from, is from recommended videos. They won't put it in those lists. So that's why most people have a hard time finding your videos or my videos. Even if they subscribe, even if they click the bell, YouTube still won't notify people. So it's not only about being demonetized. I mean, that's bad enough. That's one thing, but it's also that nobody can see your videos anymore. But the thing that's so worrisome about it is YouTube years ago. I mean, they made a promise with this whole ad revenue thing that you could actually make a living doing this. You if you're good at it and if you make good content, and they set up a platform to be something where you could make a life earnings on. You could support your family with it. And many people did that, and it was great for a while. But then out of nowhere, without any warning, without saying anything, without being specific about anything, they just decided, well, Christians and conservatives don't get to make a living on this anymore. But they did it without telling anybody. So there was no warning. So a lot of people, I mean, people have lost their houses over this. People have really gone through a lot of trouble. And I know some people out there, because I get people like this, they'll say, well, you should go out and get a real job. For one thing, I do have a real job. But the YouTube stuff, that is a real job. You are trading your service. You're trading your skill. Video editing, content creation, that's a skill. You got to be good at it if you're going to get any views.
Look, it's not easy.
Your service for money.
It is not easy. I mean, people think, and you'll laugh at this, people think it's so easy. You just go on camera and do your YouTube show. It's not easy. You have to find people to interview, and you have to find people to interview that are going to tell the truth. So it's not easy. But
that's right.
What amazes me, Josh, is here we are in this time where the government is, shedding light on all this alien stuff, but they're shutting you and me down. What is up with that?
There's a greater deception at play here. I think that we're living in a time where it actually benefits the government to release what they know about UFOs, and I think that's what we've been seeing. I think they've been waiting for the right time. Now, I do think that there's a spiritual component to this too. So on the spiritual side of it, I think that the enemy, Satan and demons, I think that they're planning something. I don't know exactly what. Possibly could be something prophetic. This could be the great deception that's at play. But on the human level, I believe what's going on is we had a culture for a long time of a lot of people really mad at the government for not releasing anything or for lying to people about about what they knew about UFOs. And that was like the popular mainstream view for a long time, that the government is lying to us. So over the course of years and years and years and years, the government went on this campaign to discredit people like this. So for a long time, people who believed in UFOs, they were mocked on TV shows, or they were kind of laughed at by news agencies and even spokesmen for the government itself. And the government would give these really weak excuses, like swamp gas, or it's Venus, or for these UFO sightings, just laughable excuses. But I think that they were, at that point, they were kind of testing the reaction of the population. So there was a long campaign for that, of discrediting people, and now we live in a time where but at the same time, there was a growing popularity in science fiction and stuff like that. So the people that were asking and getting really mad at the government for not revealing the truth, those people, those numbers started to die down. But the number that started to increase were the people that were more interested in science fiction and then actually thinking philosophically. Are we the only ones in the universe? Surely there's got to be life elsewhere. So what happened is we have now reached a time starting in 2016, 2017, where the people that were really demanding the truth from the government, those were in the smallest numbers that they've been since this whole thing began. But the number of people who had an interest, or at least a belief in the possibility of life out there in the universe without this anger towards the government, that is in record numbers. That's huge. That's pretty much everybody. So right now, also at the same time, starting just a few years ago, other governments of the world were releasing their UFO footage, or there was a popular one from the Mexican government, from the Mexican Air Force, I believe, that captured UFOs, and all these other countries were starting to release what they knew about UFOs. So now there's competition. So now I believe that those in power realized if we're going to do this, we need to do it now, because there's not going to be anybody that's angry with us anymore and demanding things and demanding more, demanding that we do things. So we don't, and really it's they don't care if people are mad at them. There's just a lot of illegal stuff that they're caught up in, and they don't want to be called out for it. So there's less of a risk for the government to release stuff now. They know that they're going to have to at some point anyway, because all these other countries are going to. But they also want, because of competition, they also want to be the first to release as much as they can. If there's going to be a frontier of UFO research, America is going to want to be at the head of that frontier, just like we're the head of every frontier, really. So I believe that from the people in power that make these decisions, I think that they realized we're never going to find another time like this. And if we wait too long, all of these people with this growing interest in life in other planets, they're going to start getting angry. And it's going to be Roswell all over again. It's going to be, even the 50s and the 60s all over again. And we're going to have to wait even longer, while at that time, all these other countries are going to be able to capitalize on this research while we're left in the dust. I think that that's what's going on the human level. But again, like I said, nobody would have been able to predict this unless they had bought me and Derek Gilbert's book, The Day the Earth Stands Still, because that book came out in October, November of 2017. And in there, the very last chapter, I wrote in there, and it wasn't a prophetic thing. I didn't hear a prophetic word from the Lord or anything like that. I was just studying historical cycles. And I was mapping out. Actually, I spoke about this at one of the Hear the Watchmen conferences in the past. But I was researching historical cycles having to do with Israel's history and UFO, or really what's called cosmic plurality history, which is just the cosmic plurality is just the idea that there could be life out there in the universe. And every once in a while, something major will happen in history that will reignite that interest. So Roswell was one of those. But this goes back to ancient history too. Strangely enough, those major events in Israel's history and major events in cosmic plurality history coincide. They happen at the same time. That only makes sense if this in some way is a type of spiritual phenomena. If it was really aliens from another planet, what do they care what happens in some little country in the Middle East? And why would they determine all of their actions based on the events of that country? Even to the point of it being predictable. Like sometimes the UFO thing happens first. So I mapped all of these out in the book. I gave a chart, a big list, and I showed everybody at home how they could do it too. And I said, again, remember this book came out around October, November of 2017. I said in there, if these patterns continue in this same time frame, we are going to see something really big from the UFO community. The cosmic plurality, idea. I didn't know for sure it would be UFOs, but it was a good guess because lately, the past 50, 60 years, the cosmic plurality stuff has always manifested as UFOs. So I said there's going to be a major UFO thing, and there's going to be a major event in Israel. They're going to be really close. It's going to happen somewhere either in December of 2017 or January of 2018. And lo and behold, so the book goes out. It barely even gets off the shelves before all of a sudden the Pentagon released all this information about their secret UFO program. They had a secret study into UFOs, and they offered this information willingly. It wasn't even that somebody found out and the government had to deny it. The government just admitted to it one day. Not within 6 days. Within 6 days, President Trump announced that he was officially making Jerusalem the capital of Israel, and it wasn't just a campaign promise. It was actual. He was the first president to actually do this, and that he was moving the embassy, and he did that really fast. So these two things happened within 6 days of each other in December 2017, exactly when I said that it would. And it wasn't a prophecy thing. It wasn't a word from the Lord. It was a predictable pattern of historical events that are happening. Now, what's really weird is right now we're in another time. We're in another time where we're seeing another big resurgence of, basically every news agency now is covering UFOs and covering secret programs from the government. We're seeing another big spike. So again, I predict based on those historical cycles, we are going to see something big in Israel happen very soon. I can't say exactly when. The longest span for one of these was actually in Roswell, and it was a span of a year. There was a year difference between when Israel became a nation again and when we had the Roswell crash. So I would say sometime within this year, but I think it's actually going to be a lot sooner. These events, when you map them out, they're happening shorter and shorter and shorter, like prophetic birth pangs that we read about in the Bible. So I suspect very soon we're going to see something major in Israel. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's going to have something to do with Trump. I don't know if it's a war. I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that the U.S. just shipped out 1,000 troops to the Middle East just recently,
and
or if it
Britain.
has something to do with this. Yeah, and Britain. And so I think, and I talked about this in my most recent episode of Peck Report, which I do for Daily Renegade. My most recent one, I said I can't say for sure right now. It's just a gut feeling, but what's happening with this deployment of troops, I think that's the beginning of whatever this thing is going to be. That's coinciding
Josh,
with this new uptick in UFO.
Let's be honest, okay? And now this is the old guy coming at you. This is very, very dangerous, okay? Sending troops over off the coast of Iran, Britain sending troops over there. This is very dangerous. I grew up in the 70s, okay? So I dealt with Vietnam. This is not good. I mean, this is not something that we want to get into, in my opinion. We don't want this battle. Are we in it? Yeah, we're in it. We're in it. Because why? Because we're dependent upon oil, and that's a fact, okay? I mean, you got to drive a car. I mean, you got to heat your house. We're dependent on oil. Okay, fine. But do we truly need to go and kill people to defend that right? I mean, I don't know. I guess in some way, as an old guy, I'm like, I just don't want to do this again. I don't want the fight, and you talk about aliens and you talk about all that. And some people will say to us like, oh, Josh and Mike are crazy. Listen, I saw the Phoenix lights. I lived in Phoenix. I was outside barbecuing when those lights went across Phoenix and disappeared. It was not anything man-made. That was something, I'm telling you. Yeah. I mean, I've told this to people before. I've told it to L.A. Marzulli. It was, there was no noise, nothing. They just came across the sky and then they took off, just like that. So, I mean, there's something else out there. It's arrogant of us as humans to think that we're the only people out there. I mean, God created us, I get that, but maybe God created some other people too. But the problem is today, if you look at Iran and you look at what we just went through in Iraq and Afghanistan, old men like me make decisions for young men like you to go fight in a war that we really don't need. So where does God come into all this?
Yeah, and that's a really important question too, because I'm right with you. I don't want us to have to go to war. I mean, who wants war? I mean, I guess there are some people out there that do, but I'm not one of them. And so I totally agree with you there. And so the good thing though is that we do serve a loving God, and He has prophetically put in place. Throughout the Bible, throughout Scripture, we read in prophecy some of the wars that are going to come. Now, it's not an exhaustive list. You would be hard pressed to find every single war ever in the Bible. So just if there is a future war, it doesn't mean that it necessarily has to be the Gog Magog war or one of these other ones. But we do know that there unfortunately is going to be war. There's going to be rumors of war. There's going to be earthquakes. There's going to be natural disasters, and there's going to be a lot of bad stuff ahead. But if all we have is this world, then we're in a lot of trouble. Our hope isn't in this world. We know that this world is going to be restored at some point, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. If your hope is in the world, then you're in bad shape, and then you have a lot of reason to be afraid. But Our hope is in Jesus Christ. Our hope is that we know after all of this is done, after all the wars, all the battles, after everything, Jesus returns and sets everything straight, punishes the enemy, gets rid of them, and then restores creation back to what it was supposed to be, back to the Garden of Eden, where and then sin is no more. We no longer have the sin nature in us anymore. So that's where God is in this, and that is the hope. You know, we serve a God who awards us, who offers us the gift of free will. And with that means that, unfortunately, there are going to be some people who use their free will wrongly, who use it for evil purposes. And God allows that because it gives free will to the rest of us. Otherwise, you can't have true love. You can't really love God. You could even argue God couldn't really love you unless you have some sort of free will to make that choice. You know, love is a two-way street. There's got to be a relationship there. And if we're just mindless automatons, then how could that possibly be free? You know, how could that be real love? That's why even angels have free will. You know, everything that God creates to serve him. You know, we're not talking about like plants and animals and stuff, but that he comes into covenant with to serve him and for him to be their God, then we all praise and worship him, but it's done out of free will. So again, that's why, because a lot of people have this question. It's a good question. Why is God waiting so long? You know, why does it have to get so bad before it gets worse? Because God is giving people every possible chance to turn their lives around, to use their gift of free will for something good, to submit to Jesus freely. You know, before Jesus comes back and says, "All right, whatever you have chosen, that's now the deal. There's no takebacks. You know, you get no second chances. I'm here now, and that whatever you have already decided, that is what it is." By that point, by the time of Jesus' return, it's too late. Then you can't exercise your free will to choose Jesus anymore, you know? And so he's giving everybody every chance. And sometimes people thrive the best through persecution, as horrible as that is. But some people might have to go through something. Look, if it means that somebody goes through some pretty horrendous stuff on earth, but that is the thing that they need to get them to turn to Jesus, well, then they're sealed in eternity. You know, an eternity with Jesus is infinitely better. And that is so much more the thing to focus on than whatever pain and turmoil is going on a physical, temporary earth. So that's what I would say.
Well said, Josh. And I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I'm telling you, folks, Josh is one of the up and coming stars of the prophecy world. You need to follow him. You need to pay attention to him. I mean, look, Tom Horn and I are old, right? Like we've been talking this stuff for years, and none of the younger generation will listen to us, but they will listen to Josh. Support Josh Peck. Josh, how do people find you?
The best place, so I work at Skywatch TV, so skywatchtv.com. But if people are interested in the platform that I was talking about, dailyrenegade.com. It's a brand new thing. We're bringing on as many good people who represent Christ, you know, as many good hosts as we can. I actually just had a conversation with Carl Teichrob. He's going to be joining up and providing videos, but it's a video platform with people who have, you know, interesting Christian shows that you might want to watch but can't watch because YouTube keeps deleting them. So if you want to learn the truth about what's really going on in the government, or the truth about vaccines, or Bible prophecy, or, you know, Jesus, or what's going on at Burning Man, you know, all stuff that you can't find on YouTube because it's all shadow banned, you can find it at Daily Renegade. We have something like 13 or 14 different shows now, so people can go there. We do have like free videos, but there is a membership fee to get the exclusive stuff because it's a very costly pursuit.
Sure.
To be able to house all your own videos and make sure it's censorship free and to, you know, be able to protect it, costs a lot of money. So it is $10 a month or $100 a year. But listen, we provide a lot better than Netflix. Cancel your Netflix subscription and come over to dailyrenegade.com and come join the family.
There you go. I mean, Josh, I am so proud of you. I mean, we're going to get a ton of hate mail because I used the proud word. But I really am. I am.
You prideful sinner.
Oh, you prideful sinner. Yeah. But I am. It's so encouraging because, you know, I got to tell you, when I grew up, I was a hippie, right, in the 70s and all that stuff. And I thought my parents
Sure.
didn't know anything about anything and they were crazy. And now I am them. I mean, go figure that. I am them. And there is nothing that I could be happier about than being them because they were good Americans. They were God-fearing people. They tried their best, and that's what I think we're trying to tell all of you when we do these shows. We're not saying that Josh Peck has all the answers or Mike Kerr has all the answers. We're just saying believe in Jesus and let's all try and make this place a better place for all of us. So, Josh, thank you so much for taking time away from your 48 kids tonight, your beautiful wife, to spend with us doing this show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure talking to you again. Always is.
God bless. So, hey, listen, folks, as always, here on the Watchmen's Report, don't forget, there's nothing that you can't do with Jesus in your heart, except nothing at all. Get out there, get busy, activate your faith, make a difference in the world. We'll see you next time here on the Watchmen's Report.